All right, Han and Claire were running laps around the track. The coach recorded their times at the end of laps 2, 4, 6, and 8. So for Han's run, we want to calculate his minutes per lap. So he ran 4 minutes in a distance of 2 laps, which is 2 minutes for 1 lap. And then when he runs for 9 minutes, he goes 4 laps, and that's equal to 2.25 minutes for 1 lap the second time around. And the way we got that is we just took our 9 and we divided it by 4. And we also divided 4 by itself, so that's how we got that. All right, next up, let me change the color so it doesn't blend in too much. All right, when Han runs for 15 minutes, he goes 6 laps. And if you divide by 6 on the numerator and denominator, you're going to get 2.5 minutes jogging for 1 lap. And last but not least, when Han runs for 23 minutes, he goes 8 laps, which is 2.88 minutes for 1 lap. So as you can see, Han's speed it's not consistent. His minutes per lap is changing as he runs different amount of laps. All right, so right there, question number 1 says, is Han running at a constant pace? We're going to say no. So Han is not running at a constant speed, and when they say, how do you know? This is how we know right there. His minutes per lap is changing constantly. It's changing all the time. Now they say, is Claire? So we got to do the same thing, and we're going to see, do the values in the minutes per lap side change? So when Claire runs for 5 minutes, she goes 2 laps. That's 2.5 minutes to run 1 lap. Now we're going to do the same thing for when she runs 10 minutes and 4 laps. So that's 2.5 minutes for 1 lap again. So even though she runs a different amount of laps, 4 laps this time, she's still running at the same rate. Let's test it for 15 minutes and 6 laps. So what we're doing is we're taking our denominator. So in this case, the 6, we're saying 15 divided by 6. That's where the 2.5 came from. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that's where the 1 came from. And whatever the denominator is, that's what we're dividing by. So we did the same thing. We divided by 4. 10 divided by 4 was 2.5. And then 4 divided by itself also got us 1. Same thing for 5 over 2. We divided by 2. In that case, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. All right, and the last one, if we take 20 minutes, we divide that by 8 laps. And once again, you're going to get 2.5 minutes for 1 lap. So as you can see, Claire's minutes per lap is staying the same. It's 2.5 minutes per 1 lap, no matter how many laps that she runs. So she does run at a constant pace. And that's how we know, because of this section right here. All right, notice that we still write a sentence for Claire as well. Claire runs at a constant pace. When they say, how do you know? Again, just look at that information right there. And now we've written a sentence for Han and Claire, and we've stated that Han is not running at a constant pace, but Claire runs at a constant pace. All right, last but not least, write an equation for the relationship between the distance and time for anyone who is running at a constant pace. Since Han isn't running at a constant pace, he's not going to get an equation. But we just said Claire is. So the way that you do that is we're going to use the table for Claire to figure this out. So why don't we use D for distance, and we use T for time. They don't give us letters to use, so I just chose those 2. And then whatever's on the right side of the table, that goes by itself. So since time is on the right side of the table, we're going to say T equals, and that goes by itself. And then we're going to use the COP. The COP is 2.5, as you can see in the table. And then the other letter is distance. So the amount of time that Claire is running is equal to 2.5 times the amount of laps, the distance. So she runs 2 laps, we say 2.5 times 2, and then we get 5. If she runs 4 laps, we say 2.5 times 4, and then we get 10 laps, and so on.